And hello, everyone. Welcome to the Davenport Football Coaches Show. We are coming to you live from Uccello's in Caledonia, as we do every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Talk Davenport football with the head coach, Sparky McEwen. I'm Rick Berkey, welcoming you to the program. Hope you can join us. If not live, you can always catch it later online on YouTubeLive.com. We'll have a special guest. Sparky's brought T.J. Daniels, a young man, a graduate student who's joined the program for 1 year of play. We'll get to him in the middle of the program. We'll talk about last Saturday's game in Allendale against Grand Valley State, and then look ahead to this Saturday's home game. Davenport home the next two Saturdays. This Saturday at 12 noon against Wayne State. We'll preview that game as well. But we welcome in the head coach, Sparky McEwen. And Spark, let's talk a little bit about the Grand Valley State game. First of all, I know coaches are taught to tell the players to ignore the circumstances, but I don't think I've ever seen a game where it rained hard from start to finish. It never, ever let up, it seemed.
It was bad. It was bad. It was bad for, not only players, officials, sideline crew, fans. It was a homecoming game for them. So, but in regards to weather, that's as bad as it could be.
And if you just look at the numbers, it'll show that you dug yourself a little bit of a hole to start. 21-0 at the half, but it was quite different than the Michigan Tech game the game before, because a fumble turned into a touchdown, a block punt turned into a touchdown, and I thought your defense played admirably pretty much the whole night. They just were in a hole because of turnovers in that first half.
The last 2 weeks, for the most part, is it's been really difficult, because you can't go against opponents of that nature and expect to, win games when you turn it over. We turned it over. We actually put the ball on the ground 8 times, and we lost, I think it was 4. And that's, not including the block punt. Okay, so those were significant things that happened to us. And, at the same time, Grand Valley had those same opportunities to put the ball on the ground, and they didn't put it down one time, surprisingly, in that environment. As wet as it was. So very discouraging from there, because I thought it was a really good defensive outing. I thought that we had a pretty good game plan going in. We have struggled running the football this year, and you've got your starting running back out for the year, and then you have your backup running back out that goes out pretty much early, and then you have your other guy that you bring in this year that's out with a surgery on his fractured finger. So we're going deep into our roster of running backs, and guys that truly are new to the collegiate game as a running back. And there's certain bills that we look to fit the bill in regards to a running back. And now we have to be careful with our guys, because we want to have guys in there and hopefully they can have success. You don't want to put them in a bad spot. So right now it's been running back by committee, and moving forward we're hoping to smooth these things out.
And yet I thought, Coach, that the way Lorenzo White played for you Saturday night was one of the biggest highlights of the evening. That young guy, that small frame, is unbelievable. He ended up with 88 yards on the ground. And I swear over half of them came after he was contacted first.
Yeah, the team, they love Lorenzo, and he's a young man that
just 5'6". Yeah.
You talk about his frame, and stature. He may not be, the tallest, athlete, but his body, he's a little bowling ball, and as a true freshman, no one on the team squats more, and Seth is a guy that's extremely strong. So you're talking about a guy that could squat 600 pounds as a true freshman. So
wow,
I'm excited about him. I remember recruiting him, and Harbaugh was there when I was recruiting him over at King, and I told Harbaugh then that we were going to use him as a throwback back when Bo and he played at Michigan, and that's where you now see some of the two-back stuff that we're starting to implement.
Yeah, I saw some of that coming in. So with the injuries and with his play Saturday, Does he move into the top spot for now, or is this just still a committee type?
It's still committee, and a lot of these guys are still proving themselves, and depending on the formation that pretty much determines, we're a multiple formation type, team. We're a spread offense, so on different sets he's the starter. On other sets we got a couple other guys like Keon and Blankenberg that could potentially step in as starters as well. So they all bring something different to the game, and we're hoping that this week against Wayne State we're able to put it all together with these guys and get in there and be effective.
In addition to the defense playing well, Lorenzo. I also, for the second straight game, Hayden Majeski came off the bench and gave you a bit of a spark at quarterback.
Yeah, well, the biggest thing is Hayden didn't turn the ball over. We had a couple bobbled snaps, in there. That's how we actually suffered the sacks because we didn't handle the ball as well, but we didn't turn it over, and that was so important. And just like I stated early. Hayden has done a really solid job for us, and he'll continue to do a solid job for us. And, we preach ball security all the time, okay? And unfortunately, elements are what they are, and we got to be able to play above it. Grand Valley had to play in the same stuff, and, they didn't turn it over. So we got out to a bad start, and when you're going against a team that's ranked as high as Grand Valley and a type of powerhouse, you have to almost nearly play a perfect game.
I wanted to mention something to you last week, and I didn't get around to it, but I want to ask you now because it's apparent that, with understandable reason, when you put Nate Couturier back in punt return formation, they're doing everything they can collectively in the GLIAC to deny him the chance to run a kickback. Yeah,
you can notice that a lot of the ball teams that we play against, they'll either kick it away from him, and sometimes it works in your favor though because you get good field position. But in this game, with the wind and the rain, Nate wasn't able to judge the ball as well, and we had some poor field position all night, for the most part.
Yeah, and that was nice. Like the one touchdown you got, though, came on a 90-yard drive. Started your own 10-yard line and got it out there, and then a nice pass from Hayden to Nate. Got the lone touchdown. Then you got a stop on defense.
Yeah.
Got the ball back, and we're driving again before
Lorenzo. I think it was Lorenzo that fumbled at that time.
And he played so well up to that, and I'm sure he felt as bad as anybody. But again, if you're able to take that down and punch it, now you got a one-score game, and it's a different story. Yeah,
and you know what? We were driving. You can see the momentum definitely changing, at that time. And with a young team, so often you see teams like this play off of momentum. And we were starting to get it. We were really starting to get it going there, and then out of nowhere, we were snake bitten again with the turnover, and it was unfortunate. But once again, I have to give credit to where it's due. They stripped it out of there. On film, you can see, they were stripping at the ball, ripping at the ball, and they got it out. And we just did a poor job of securing the ball.
You mentioned the stripping it out. How much time does your team spend in practice now during the season on ball stripping drills?
Every day, our guys ball security. If they miss a day, it just so happens to be because we've added something else. But for the most part, that's part of our daily, drill work. And ball security on offense, and then stripping the football on defense.
Well, you've brought with you T.J. Daniels, a young man who played mostly at Quincy University in Illinois. Actually played against us a few years ago when Quincy played here. He was on that team, and now you've got him from when he's a graduate student. We're going to get him in here just a second. Before we do, tell us a little bit about TJ, what caught your eye with him, and how you eventually got him to come to Davenport.
Awesome young man, and he's accepted his role on this team, and, he's been a backup linebacker for us. And all of a sudden, here's a guy that does not complain about anything. I mean, he does not complain. He comes to work. He does his job. He does what's asked of him. When he came here as a graduate transfer, he knew of our situation here. He knew we had some guys here, but he wanted to come in and compete. And then all of a sudden, he gets here, and if I'm not mistaken, he was one of our leading tacklers, in the ball game. And the last couple of weeks, he's been playing at a high level. He plays banged up, and man, it's and then with that, I met his parents. Awesome people, and they were so happy to get him here with us, and they're enjoying this time that he has with us. And here's a young man that, like I said, he was a starter there at Quincy, and he came here to our place, and we've got some talented guys there. But, he said, Coach, I just want to come in and compete and have an opportunity. And all of a sudden, he has his opportunity, and he's been shining, and he's doing a great job for us.
All right, well, let's get TJ in here. Coach, you go over, have some of that Uccello's great food. Stop out Uccello's any night. You can tell by the buzz behind you. They've always got a lot of things going on here. Great food, great service, great fun. All the screens you want to watch any of the sports. They got the World Series on tonight, as well as other football and sports things going on. Don't forget about the raffle ticket for the Davenport football program, which comes up. You can get the tickets right now online. Go to dupanthers.com. Go to the football program. Look for the raffle. Click it on right now. First prize, a grand prize of $2,000. Second prize, $500. Third prize, $250. We draw at halftime in the final home game a week from Saturday. You can get tickets right up to then online. Again, go to dupanthers.com. Check it out. We welcome TJ Daniels, graduate student who again already got his degree from Quincy. TJ, we welcome you to the program. Sparky told us what caught his eye with you. Tell us what caught your eye from the Davenport perspective. What was it that said, I'd like to play my final year of football there?
Really, it was just the family atmosphere, the way Coach Walker, the way he recruited me, his honesty. He was honest the entire time. He didn't sugarcoat anything. He was straightforward with me. Coach Sparky, he was honest with me from the beginning until I got up there, you know what I mean? They've been honest. They've been like family ever since they recruited me, so that's really what drew me to Davenport.
TJ was a phenomenal high school football player at St. Louis University High School in St. Louis. Tell us about, again, folks around here aren't familiar with that school. Right. I've heard a little, I know it's a pretty good football program. Tell us about the caliber of play that you played in high school.
Well, we probably played in the hardest conference in the state of Missouri. We played against teams like CBC, DeSmet, teams that are ranked in the country on a yearly basis. My team, we always had solid seasons. Never up to par with some of those teams, but we always competed. So,
based on what I've heard, he's not just bragging. I think it is the toughest conference in the state of Missouri, and he was all conference 3 straight years at linebacker right now. Now, again, this young man epitomizes the student athlete. He not only has his degree from Quincy, he graduated magna cum laude in political science. Yeah. What initially caught your eye about poli-sci? What was it that you said, I really want to get into that?
Really, it was my sophomore year in high school. I had a teacher, Tom Zinzelmeyer, Mr. Z. We called him Mr. Z. And in his class, I took his, I forgot what class it was, but it was a history class. And he was a political science major in college. And the way he taught and the different lessons and things like that he stressed to us throughout the duration of the course, it kind of caught my attention, and it was something that I wanted to do.
Sparky said that your folks, your dad, Anthony, and Tanya, your mom, he was so impressed with them. Obviously, they've been a big part of your life. Tell us how they've helped you get to where you are now as a person.
Wow. I mean, they've honestly been the biggest influences on my life. You know, my mom, she's kind of been the nurturer, but she's been tough on me, too, when she's had to. I remember when I was a little kid, she went out and was running hills with me at like 6 o'clock in the morning. When I was struggling to run hills when I was a little kid. My dad, he's always had my back. He's always honest, brutally honest sometimes. But really, the reason why I am today, or the reason who I am today is because of them. So.
Now, this big, tough linebacker takes on 300-pound linemen on a regular basis, but his favorite movie? The Lion King. So he's got a soft side, too, doesn't he?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Now, you've talked about coming here now. when you've already got your degree, you're going towards his master's. Is that going to be in poli-sci also?
Nope, it's in management, business management.
What do you see yourself doing, let's say, 5 and 10 years down the road?
Oh, I'm going to law school.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yes, sir. I'm going to law school.
Do you know where you want to go?
Not yet. I have a few schools in mind right now. I'm still in the process of going through that. And I'm going to law school, and then after that, obviously I want to pursue a career in law, and my ultimate goal is to become a judge. So.
Oh, fantastic.
Right.
Now, are you applying mostly in the Midwest, or are you applying for law school anywhere in the country and other places?
Well, so a funny story. My mom actually just moved to Florida, and so my family's about to move to Florida.
What part of Florida?
Jacksonville.
Okay.
So first I was just going to apply to like schools in St. Louis and places where people live so I can live with those people and save money.
Yeah.
And so now my radius has kind of increased. So I'm going to start applying to schools in Florida
and
different places.
weather's not bad in Jacksonville in the winter, is it?
No, not especially compared to Michigan.
T.J. Daniels, our linebacker for number 54 for your Panthers, and number 6 on the team in tackles with 29 total tackles. Who are your best friends on the team, and why are they special to you?
Man, best friend. I'm cool with a lot of guys on the team. I would say the dude I'm closest with the most though is Jaden Gardner.
Okay.
Basically, we came in as transfers together in the springtime, or in January, and I don't know, we're roommates now, so we've kind of gotten close. But I'm close to a lot of people: Kai Black, Tyreek Thurman, Liam, James King, a lot of people on the team.
All right, from a playing standpoint, you know, you guys have dug a hole for you, different reasons, consecutive weeks, fought back in the second half, but you know better than anybody, you can't dig that big a hole.
Exactly.
What does this team got to do to make sure that they don't dig that big first half deficit?
We just got to focus on starting fast, and we got to focus on the small details. What we've realized a lot of times in the past 4 weeks that we've lost, it's the small details that have been beating us. It's not really what the other teams is doing. It's more of what we're doing, especially on defense. Just looking at the Grand Valley game, like from, I don't know, the eye in the sky, it looks like we played a good game or a decent game if you look at the stats. But when we came back and watched the film, we saw that it was sometimes where we were in the wrong fits. We didn't do our assignment, and that's why we gave up the touchdowns that we gave up. So.
All right, well, T.J. Daniels, we appreciate you joining us. You still hungry? They still got some more of that great Uccello. It's good stuff, isn't it?
It is. It's real good.
All right, go enjoy that. It's great having you on with us.
Thank you.
All right, T.J. Daniels, our special guest, and we'll get Coach McEwen back in here and talk a little bit about this week's opponent. Again, Davenport home this Saturday, 12 noon, kickoff at the Farmers Insurance Athletic Complex in Caledonia, just outside of Grand Rapids. If you cannot make it, you can join our broadcast on the DAN, the Davenport Athletics Network, live a little before 12 noon. We'll have the full broadcast video and audio for you on the DAN. Coach McEwen joins us right now and talk a little bit about Wayne State. And I brought this up last week, but I have to bring it up again, Coach. I don't have any problem right now saying Wayne State is the surprise team in the GLIAC. Picked middle to maybe even a little below middle by most people. They're sitting there 4-1 in GLIAC play and in third place in the GLIAC.
Yeah, Coach Winters has done a really good job of rallying the troops, and after getting out the gate slow, playing against, two ball clubs that were pretty impressive thus far on the year, and they took some convincing losses there. As a coach, you don't like to get out the gate that way, but he's a wily vet. He's been in the profession a long time and well respected in the industry and on this team and at Wayne State, and he's got them going. Man, he's got them going offensively right now. They're the number 2 offense in our league, and they're scoring points and putting up a bunch of yards, and they've got talent in every position. So once again, it's the GLIAC, and it's the expectation. This is what happens, and our boys, they know we had a really good spirited practice today, and We've struggled of late, and the biggest cause of those struggles has been turning the football over. Our defense is playing well enough for us to have a shot in games. Offensively, we just have not. We have not, since the Ashland game, been able to shake, the turnover bug.
Last year at Wayne State, it was, I believe, the best game of the season that you played on both sides of the football. You rushed for, I think it was a program record 236 yards. You also threw for almost 150. And like I said, you would love to have a chance to duplicate that this Saturday. What are the keys to playing well against Wayne State?
Well, number one, we can't turn the ball over. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And, in this game, and we talked quite a bit about it as a team, turning the ball over, I mean, it's the one thing in football that you cannot do. And now our guys have a true understanding of that. So that's number one.
Let me jump in before you get to number two. When you coach a team that is focusing on that, is there a danger that they're so focused on not turning it over that they don't execute in other ways because they're so focused on that? Is that a danger or not?
Well, it goes back to what I told you before, Rick, and that is, if you prepare the correct way, you don't worry about those things. You just got to do your job, secure the ball, be a little more focused than what you've been. And for whatever reason it is that you've had these turnovers, you got to move forward. You got to move on. And I talked to our players about valuing possessions. And on offense, Rick, we're going to return, somewhere in the area of 9 to 10 starters, and then we're going to return a lot more guys that's getting time. So we're still relatively a young team, and we return good football players. Okay, so right now it's been a process, and it's been a painful one because, we really felt like if we don't turn the ball over against Grand Valley as much, we feel like that we can compete even that much more in the game. You saw the yardage differential. And then the week before against Michigan Tech, the boys came out and played a great, I don't want to say great, but a pretty good second half. They don't turn the ball over and they get after it all of a sudden. We held them scoreless and we put up 17. So we got to get some more consistency there and get a little more consistency at the quarterback position and, get somebody at the running back position that doesn't have, MAs and keep people healthy. And we're getting a couple linemen back this week too.
I was going to ask you, you would hoped last week that the couple might be able to get back by this week.
Yeah, but we've got some other guys, some valuable experience. So, I'm excited for people that are getting back, and I'm excited to see, what we do in this game against a very good Wayne State team that's looking to stay in the hunt for a GLIAC title.
All right, as you get into Game 8 of a 10-game season for you, is it too late to implement different ways you do things? In particular, I'm thinking on offense. Or is that something you say, nope, we're going to stay true to the course of where we are and think long-term, big picture beyond this year? Or is it not too late to say, you know what, we were going to go A and B, we're going to try C and D for a while?
Well, the biggest thing is going into the season, you have a plan, and you have a long-term plan, okay? We knew going in that we're going to have a bunch of student athletes that were younger. Okay, and we knew that it was going to be a process, number one meaning, Ford, okay, at the quarterback position. Okay, we knew that Ford was basically going to have to knock off some rust and continue to progress to get better, okay. We knew that we were going to have to replace some key linemen, on offense. We knew that, without playing with Seth, that we're going to pretty much break in a new running back, core. Because if you think about it, when you don't have Seth, you don't have Catchings, you don't have Gabe Ford, you don't have Fugate, you've gone awful deep into, your depth chart of running backs, okay? And this is the GLIAC, okay? This is the GLIAC. You got to have quality guys, running the ball for you. So, this year in this offense right now, it's been a working process. Defensively, we replaced some guys up front, and now next year we return a number of guys, on defense. So we want to kind of stick to our plan, okay? And we want to continue to develop players because at the end of the day, players are what wins games, and player development is what wins games. So we want to stay fundamentally sound and learn from the mistakes that we've had thus far.
I want to go back to something we actually talked about in the first part of the show when we were talking about Lorenzo White and that extra effort allowing him to have such a big game. To the unsophisticated eye like mine, when you see that and you think, boy, what a great job by the guy who was hit at the line of scrimmage, still get 3 or 4 yards. But the second effort by him, I think we got people like me overlook that the offensive line can give second effort as well. If they don't initially get that movement, they can then add that as well, right?
Absolutely. Coming into the season this year, we felt like truly that our point of attack is pretty solid and legit, for our team. But when you're going against some of these opponents that we're going against, we're not getting the movement that we want yet. And you know what? That comes back to player development. We want to be stronger. This offseason, we've got to take it up a notch because we'll show clips on where we get to the point of attack, but at the same time, we're not getting the movement and changing the line of scrimmage the way that we would like. So, it's player development, and it's all a process, and we'll continue to do all the right things, and then ultimately it'll pay off in the future.
And finally, one more chance. Why don't we take another quick visit with the raffle? That it is so important to your program. I've told the folks already how they can get tickets for your raffle at DUPanthers.com, but just kind of summarize, Coach, again, some of the things that you're able to do with your program with the money that's raised from the raffle.
With our young men, we actually like to do a lot of first-class things with our guys. When we go on the road, it's the difference in, having that, big meal for our guys or staying at, different levels of hotels or going to...
Or even staying an extra night sometimes.
An extra night, and then, leadership training and doing things in our community and giving back to our community. So when we have something of this nature with our fundraiser, it gives our kids so many other opportunities, to do things because, in football operations, it costs a lot of money, to effectively run a quality class, first class, operation. And with our fundraiser, it allows us to do so many things. And our young men are very appreciative of it. So we've been successful the last 2 years, and we're really, in the final stages of really pushing our online sales. It's simple. It's a simple process. You go online and you click on the link, and it's a very secured site, and you could purchase $20 tickets, as many as you would like. So it's a great fundraiser for us. It helps us in many ways, and our young men, obviously, they're pushing that we break the record that we set last year.
And folks understand that it's true. It's important for any program that has this kind of raffle, but to a young program like yourself, you're building, and you need to get those extra things for there as well.
Absolutely.
Coach, again, maybe throw a word out to the folks that might want to come out and watch the game Saturday and give us kind of a preview of what kind of effort and performance that we can look for the Panthers this Saturday against Wayne State.
Well, the first thing is, we're playing a team that just, believe it or not, I think was about 10 years ago, I think it was, that they played the national championship.
In Division II.
Oh yeah. We're playing against one of the better coaches in the GLIAC, and one that's well respected across the country, and they have a very explosive offense. They've got a running back that's, top notch. They got a receiver that's arguably the best receiver in our conference, and they have a defense, man, that flies around, that gets after you. And I think that, this is going to be one of those games where both these teams, are playing for so much. We're playing for, obviously, continued respectability in our conference, and we're playing to get better each week. And, our players feel like what we've showed the last couple of weeks is truly not who we are, but they've understood that you can't turn the football over in this conference. If you do, you're gonna lose. You're going to lose. So, this Saturday we're excited to get back in front of our homestand crowd and put on the show.
And maybe we can turn the tables on those turnovers and jump out to the first quick start ourselves. Again, Saturday, 12 noon, Davenport at Wayne State, Farmers Insurance Athletic Complex. So get out there, get your tickets at DUPanthers.com. Hope to see you out there cheering on the red and black this Saturday. That'll wrap up tonight's edition of the Davenport Football Coaches Show. So thanks again to the good folks at Uccello's for taking great care of us. So till next week at this time, for Coach Sparky McEwen, I'm Rick Berkey saying so long and go Panthers.